Welcome back to another episode featuring the 3.7 liter E34 535. If you're back here, you are probably invested in this disappointment like I am, and today we're going to hopefully get to the bottom of why it's such a disappointment. I'm interrupting this video from the back of my filthy M5 here to announce that I have released a 2026 Year of BMW calendar here featuring some of my favorite pictures of my favorite cars over the years. If you're interested in this calendar, please send me an email and I will get you one. $28 shipped in the US. If you're outside of the US, please reach out to me and I'll arrange a shipping quote. And yeah, you have 24 hours from seeing this video to place an order with me, because once I put that last order in, there will be no more of these. So if you want one, please let me know. Now you're probably coming from the dyno video, and in the comments there and over the course of those next few days, I got a ton of messages. Some saying, what did you expect from a metric mechanic engine? Others saying, it's probably not a metric mechanic engine. I'm ignoring those. It's all the proof is there. And then the other people said, there's a problem. It should make more power than that. Well, today we're gonna hopefully unlock some power and figure out what is going on here. So if you didn't watch that video, the quick story is this car on the dyno put down 188 wheel horsepower, and right around that in the torque department, less than my B10 3.5 Alpina. So it's not making the power it should. Yes, it's making a little bit more power than a stock M30, but it's not where it should be. And there's been a lot of theories, and today we're gonna try to conquer some of those theories and just figure out what's going on here. So the most prominent things that people were commenting on regarding this entire build was, first, get a tune. Well, it's on a full standalone ECU. It is tuned. I had a whole video dedicated to the install of the ECU and the tuning process. It's not like I just did a bunch of mods and I'm running a stock ECU. The car was fully remote tuned, live data. The AFRs are perfect. It runs great. Now, was it on a dyno with timing tweaks? Not quite. When you're doing remote tuning on a NA engine, you can't really advance a bunch of timing from remote. It's a little dangerous, but you could still get the timing set about where it should be. So it is tuned to an extent. The second thing was, you got to get rid of the stock cats, because the cats are going to absolutely kill the power. Well, again, I'll talk about it in a second here. I spoke to the original owner and slash builder of this car, and he told me that the cats that I saw in this car is actually a shell of the cat, and it's completely gutted. So there's no catalytic converter left. It's just the outer piping. So that bums me out, because that is immediately was my first thought of a power killer on this car. And he assured me that that is not the case. So unfortunately, we do not have cats to cut out. We are not going to find any power in that setup right there. I will say we do have the racing dynamic headers, and the rest of the exhaust is stock. So we have a stock muffler, stock pipes, etc. Could we pull a little more power out of, a high flow full exhaust? Probably, but really it's the cats that are going to kill it, and the cats are not there. The next thing was, well, there was two things. A lot of people were saying, that's metric mechanic for you. I've heard mixed reviews, but I refuse to believe an engine that is proven to be what it is can make less power than a stock one, but we'll see. And the other one was check the timing of the engine. So today what we're gonna be doing is checking the timing. We're gonna be checking the valves, because the one thing I didn't do was a valve adjustment. Now, you're not gonna pull 40 horsepower out of a valve adjustment, but if you wanna optimize it that much more, you should check it. So that's another thing I'm gonna check here. Now, the most interesting part, and something that I've never gotten to do with pretty much any car I've ever owned, I was able to get on the phone with the original guy that built this car, and that made all the difference in my understanding of the car and where we are today in terms of the ideas I have. So me and Jeff had a long phone call, bringing back all his memories of building this car. He told me things about it that I had no idea about, and he even sent me a huge gallery of all the build photos. So I know another thing that everyone was concerned about is, well, is it really a 3.7 engine? And I have every bit of proof showing that now. I'll start putting the pictures up, but I have pictures of this engine brand new, which is just awesome. I also have dug up an old dyno sheet from him of when he just had the metric mechanic head, still a 3.5 bottom end, and the car put down 183 horsepower, and 191 torque. So with the ECU and whatever I did, we were able to get a few more horsepower, but like one less torque, which is interesting. But for 20 years, this car has been stagnant in the power department, which is ridiculous. All right, we gotta get access to our valve cover first, so all this has to come off. Whoa, broken wire. Okay, that's gonna be a problem to figure out later. Now I'm gonna go through and check the valve clearances really quick. All right, cylinder 5, exhaust, way loose. All right, we're gonna have to address that one. So, you guys know the procedure. I've done it a million times. I'm just gonna time lapse some adjustments really quick. All right, and all our valves are checked and adjusted. So this engine actually had about 4 valves that were too tight. It had 2 or 3 that were too loose, and then the rest were good. Now what we have to do is, we have to adjust this sprocket. We have to see what the timing is at on this engine and decide if it's wrong, right, whatever, and correct it. Now we gotta find TDC. And then the front 2 lobes are gonna be like across each other, 45-degree angle. And these cams are not up at each other, so we are at BDC. All right, so we're gonna have to do one more. Now, we are gonna see where our sprocket is up here. There should be a bolt that lines up with pretty much this tick right here. Let me just get my phone out. So if you look in here, the cam lobes are overlapped, so we're good. TDC on the crank. Now, this bolt should be lined up with this. You guys can see it is not. It's a little bit past it. And the adjustable sprocket here, you can maybe see, but that's our bolt from the front. But there's a hole there and a hole there, which is the adjustment. It's not a slot. It's like 3 holes really close to each other, which is weird. But it corroborates what Jeff was saying, and he said he thinks that he retarded the cam timing, which if you look at this, and this always confused me, but theoretically, we are past where you would expect this to be, which in my mind would be like, oh, it's advanced, it's ahead, but I think it's opposite. So it's ahead of the crank, which means it's in fact retarded the timing, which will make things weird. Whatever it is, it's not 0, and I want it to be 0 because I don't know, in today's world, I don't think many people are using adjustable cam sprockets. I feel like that's kind of a dated thing. I could be wrong, but I want to set this back to normal. So we are going to have to open up this front cover here because we're going to be playing with that. But to do so, we got to take the cap rotor off. We got to take the front cover here, which looks like we're going to have to take off the thermostat and leak some coolant everywhere, which is not my favorite thing to do, but we are going to do that. So let's get in there, and then I probably will just put a OEM sprocket on it instead of this aftermarket stuff. I might actually replace these. Why not? They should be brand new. 2017, I guess, is 8 years ago now, so maybe I'm living in a delusional world to think that that's not old, but it actually is. Yeah, it's not bad, but it could probably be replaced. We do have to take off the thermostat housing right here. It's in the way of the couple of the bolts for the timing cover. Nah, that's good. 4A, 2A, 2R, and we have a bunch of different holes. So that bolt only has 2 options. That one has 3, that one has 4, and that one has 4. Is that not? And then there's a random option here. That dowel right there should usually be right here. Yeah, this is one hell of a, I'm gonna go ahead and get a stock one. Oh, look at that, that's convenient. I got an M30 cam sprocket right here in my toolbox. I knew I had an M31 laying around. And you can see here, we have 4 and we have a dowel. And a dowel has to go at 7. I'll show you guys that in the Bentley manual. Yeah, we gotta pull the tensioner out right now, let some slack in the chain Then we're just gonna pull the sprocket off completely, get rid of it, throw it in the garbage, I don't know. Tensioner, whew, a lot. Stock M30 here is adjustable, and you can see what I mean when I say it's just completely, it doesn't make any sense to me because there's 4 bolts. One only has 2, one has 3, 2 have 4. So that doesn't make any sense to me how you can get this to work. But you can see there, simple, nice, 4 holes, line them up. I think what we will find here, if we mock up the correct sprocket with the correct timing, is that we don't line up. You want the horizontal bolts to be basically parallel to the deck of the head. You want the vertical bolts to be vertical, which they are not. We are a couple degrees off. So we're gonna twist the head back. Block is still at TDC, of course. We want our head to go back so that this threaded hole here is lined up with the tick. I mean, yeah, that's a few degrees. I mean, a few degrees is a few degrees in a combustion engine that's running thousands of RPMs in a minute. I mean, being off like that, that's gonna bother it. So then you want to get in there to where your bolt will line up, or your sprocket will line up with the flange that should be at the hash there. And I believe this is it right here. Piston around the tensioner, and we'll start putting the spring back in. We gotta pour the oil down in that slot there. You guys have seen me do this before, and prime it by hand to get this thing how it should be. Okay, that primed up really fast. And I'm making an absolute mess. Tighten this down all the way. Okay, well, I'm gonna clean this up, put the RTV on there, get the new paper gaskets set, and then we'll be back. I just completely forgot to film, but I just placed it. So now I'm tapping it in. Got RTV on it, new paper gaskets, which we didn't even have the upper paper gasket. These bottom ones on first to pull it down, and then we'll pull it in. Throw this on. Okay. Hopefully it fires up without catastrophe. I think I've timed one of these before. I should know what I'm doing. I don't remember the valves being like all that loud, but it does sound nice and quiet, and there's no scary noises, which is big. Well, it sounds good. I think all that's left to do here is go drive it and see what the butt dyno tells us. All right, so we're taking the 535 for our drive after I did all the work, valve adjustment, cap, rotor, and resetting the timing. So now the key is to see where it's at, right? See if it improved or not. I've driven around a little bit and I've made up kind of my mind or my assumptions here, but we'll go through it live together. All right, so let's give it a rip. So more or less, it feels about the same under 4,000 RPM. It's still just very dull. And as for the dyno, we learned in the other episode that it is just very low on torque. But I will say that top end feels really, really good right now. Like once you get past that 4,000 threshold, you really feel that cam ramp in, and it pulls up top. Actually, it's actually kind of impressive. I would say I don't think we really gained much of anything down low. Up top, I think we pulled a little bit more power out of it. You know, just advancing back that cam timing, I think brought us more into the correct power range or power band of the M30. I think before, with the retarded timing and the cam that's in it, I think we just basically scaled the power band off of what an M30 is able to rev to. I think we brought it back a little bit, and I think that helped a lot. It feels actually really, really good. It's still just pretty dull under 4, but once you rev it out, and the red line's set a little, I think it's right at 6, which it should be like 62, 63, maybe even 64, but yeah, it feels good up top, and I would say it definitely feels quicker than the Alpina up top, which it didn't before. So I think we made some improvements. Now the next step would be to go back in and do ignition timing things, which I truly do think, and especially I've had people look at the graph and they say the ignition timing just needs to be, we need to throw some timing at it. That's really where this power will come from. I think that is how we can get this thing to the next step. Unfortunately, and this is the unfortunate thing, and I wasn't even gonna post this video, but I feel like there was enough people invested in the series that I owed them the full series. And but anyway, this car is going to be sold. It is getting picked up later today, and his plan is to, I think, turbo it. So it's going to be a completely different car, so he doesn't really care about the fine tuning of the NA tune because it won't apply. So unfortunately, I didn't feel it justified to go and spend much more money in the tuning process because there's just no reason to. I kind of knew I was never really going to keep this car. The package of it all doesn't really, like, it's fun up top, but like for what it is, the car didn't really get me to a point where I'm like, no, I want this to be a keeper. I have tons of other projects I have to do, so this was more so just kind of for fun. And it was fun, and you know, we had our ups and downs with this series. We had some disappointments, and I would say now it feels certainly better than it did. I think with a little bit of extra, you know, work, it could be really a badass 535. But if he throws a turbo on it, then it will be anyway, because it up top feels really good now. Probably one of the stronger 535s I felt up top, which is what it should be. Down low, more to be desired, but up top it feels good. But anyway, that is going to be the end of this series. I just want to make one last video with it, kind of going through and doing some things, because I know there was people invested. Ultimately, what conclusion can I make about the 3.7? I don't know. This car has about as serious of an NA M30 build as you could do on one of these, and it doesn't quite feel worth it to me, especially for what in period probably cost this gentleman $20,000 to do. I think that I wouldn't be thrilled if I spent 20K on all this. I think for right now, what it is, it's fun. I think the classic daily ECU is fantastic, and I'll be using that on future builds. But yeah, this was a fun little mini series. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'm sorry that we can't get the best result, which is, you know, more tuning and more dyno time, but I can't invest endless money into all these cars. It would be impossible. So I hope you guys understand. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.